Howdy doody everybody, I hope you are doing great. Today is Monster Hunter Stories 2 update day, and we've got a brand new Monstie to kind of review and show you guys exactly what you're getting with this and kind of weigh it up and get our initial impressions. I know you guys love this type of video, so we've brought along Paradise as well to share in all of that love because you love it when he's here. So Paradise, what monster are we reviewing today, and what should the people do if they like this video?
Well, it's Molten Tigrex, which I know a lot of people are excited for. And obviously, guys, drop a like, hit that subscribe. Let's get 2.6. What's the next sub?
30k. 30k.
Get 2.6 to 30k. Hit that sub. But Molten Tigrex actually kind of exciting and has some interesting genes that we need to talk about as well. Because at first glance, I think some people might be like, these don't look that special, but they're actually viable gene choices for your fire build, but you might want them or you might not want them depending on what your build is. And also Tigrex himself, like stat wise, looking pretty interesting too. So where shall we even start? You
know what is the funniest thing? Like, I uploaded a video with like, all the details of this latest patch, and people were roasting these monsters into oblivion, but I don't think they're that bad.
I've seen people say they're really excited for Molten Tigrex.
Yeah.
I've not seen
no, the stat-wise, just stat-wise and stuff like that. People were like, "Oh, not another 2 fire monsters!" Like, "Oh, they're gonna be irrelevant in like a week when the other monsters come out." But it's nice to have different options, and these are definitely like a more Molten Tigrex overall is basically a side grade, right? We looked at the stats, and it seems like he's basically a side grade for Nergigante, so. That's going to be interesting in itself, and I kind of like the is it Tigrex or Tigrex?
That's a whole nother debate, a whole nother video.
Guys, what do you say?
I say Tigrex, but I know people that say Tigrex, so side tangent. Tigrex makes sense. Tiger, T-Rex, Tigrex.
Yeah.
But I think the closer to the Japanese pronunciation is Tigrex, right? So
okay, cool.
That's to my understanding, and I could be wrong, but
I just keep on forgetting. Forgetting. So, all right.
And we're English. It's Tigrex. We're from England.
Tigrex. All right, let's jump into exactly what these genes are. There's basically 2 new genes on this monster that we're really looking out for, and they're basically fire and blast themed. So think of this guy as a non-elemental Monstie that has all the moves that you would probably want on your Teostra, essentially.
I have to say, people are going to not be happy about this. They were not happy with Soul Seer basically not having good new water moves. Yeah. So it's like, I want to make a Soul Seer build. I need to just put all the genes on him, and I don't even want to keep the 1 water that he has. If you're going to use Molten Tigrex, you're not going to want these on your build because he's non-elemental, but you will want potentially these on your other fire monsters. So
yeah, so fire.
I'm keen to hear in the comments what people think of that.
Stronger. So we needed, guys, wink, wink. We needed more fire options. Wink, wink. So yeah. We've got, for the first gene, Dust Gene L. This gives us fire powder. And it's basically like, what is it? The Dusk Cloud. I can't remember what it's called. The Dust move that Teostra has.
Dust Explosion?
Dust Explosion, that's the one. One of my favorites. It deals heavy damage to heavy fire damage to all enemies with a high chance to inflict Blast Blight, but it does cost a lot more. So Dust Explosion only costs about like 20. It will get that Blast Blight on them quite easily, especially if you have an inflict rate up on there. And this is 44. It is going to be okay as an option. I might just throw this on my Teostra to try it out and see how it works, but I just like having a high chance heavy damage move as well that isn't some of the other moves in the game.
Well, let me tell you a little about fire powder, okay?
Yeah.
When it says heavy damage, it means it. This is one of the stronger AoE fire options, particularly a status attack as well with the Blast Blight. So it's actually got high damage and it has a very high Blast Blight. Whereas when you look at some of the other heavy damage AoE Blast Blight attacks, they're actually going to be doing about half of the damage of this move. So the reason it costs 44 is because it will hit hard and it does actually have a high Blast Blight chance. Whereas Dust Explosion, I feel like you more so use that to apply Blast Blight than to deal damage, right? Whereas this will actually do both. Yeah. So it costs more to compensate for that. There's another thing as well. this is basically the same description as Bombing Raid, but Bombing Raid has, again, like half the damage of this move. However, this move can't crit and is a power move, whereas Bombing Raid is a speed move, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want another power move? And if you do, at least this one is doing a lot of damage as well as that Blast Blight chance. Whereas Bombing Raid and Dust do a lot less damage, even though they still have the Blast Blight and cost less. So it's up to what you want. If you're building a crit fire monster, I wouldn't use this because it can't crit.
Yeah, and when Paradise is talking about like the difference between like the heavy attacks and stuff like that, remember the scaling is different on PvE monsters in PvP because everyone plays at like level 50, so that will make a massive difference if you have that bonus points in there for that additional like 80 points or whatever damage that the heavy multiplier gives you basically. So that is something to bear in mind when you're picking this. Are you going for PvE? Are you going for PvP? And you kind of want to mix up people in general as well when you have like a super heavy hitting 44 point attack, which you probably wouldn't get off all that much in PvP, but you'd be surprised how much you actually do get off those bigger moves when the time counts as well. And this 100%. Move, all right, actually, before we go into the next move, let's talk about the other intrinsic skill that it normally has, which is Savage Roar. This isn't a new ability, but if you don't know about Savage Roar, it's a really cool one where it does medium non-elemental damage to all enemies and a high chance to knock them down. I don't know how much this works in PvE, but in PvP it has a chance to knock down the riders, which is pretty cool. And when the riders are knocked down, they can't do anything, and they're about to get squished. What do you think of knockdown?
In PvE, this move kind of sucks. It only really knocks down the small monsters, so you know when you have a fight and they are like accompanied by two smaller monsters sometimes. It's good in those scenarios, but to be honest, they're not really a challenge, so you don't really need it for that. But like you say, in PvP, the knockdown is literally like they just lose their next turn if it procs, which makes it incredibly strong if you do get the knockdown. And it is quite RNG. Like, I guess a lot of the PvP is RNG with like if you crit or not and the head-to-heads, but if you get the knockdown, this can literally lose you a match. Like if you get knocked over, so it's fun.
And it's only 25 points as well, so it's not that much like to get out as well. So that's something to bear in mind, especially if you have Harmony to reduce the cost of it. So that's going to bring it right down, which is pretty cool. And then the last move that we're going to go into, I thought this was it, but Slugger was trying to sneak in there and trick me, Paradise. It's not Slugger. Does anyone really use Slugger on their builds?
I'm traumatized from Slugger because I'm on the record of saying that the proc chance is so low it's never worth it. Yeah. And then in one of our PvP videos, someone procced it on me. But it was only the one time I've ever seen it proc in PvP. So I would say Slugger not very good.
Okay, cool. Let's go to the last move, which is Explosion, the large explosion gene and with Ignition Kick. So there is another move just called like Ignition basically. But this one is like really good because it is another option for your speed options, and this can actually crit. So these moves, when they say instantly causes Blast Blight, do not get confused with inflicts Blast Blight as well. So instantly causes Blast Blight also only means that it will trigger the Blast Blight explosion on a monster that already has Blast Blight applied to it. So rather than you waiting the 3 or 4 turns that it is for the Blast Blight to actually trigger, you can literally just do your explosion one, your dust blast, your bombing raid, whatever you want it to be to inflict that blast blight, and then next move you can do this and the person's probably gonna get ruined and do mass amount of damage. And this only costs 24. There isn't that many options for crit on fire as well, so you got to weigh up your options and what moves you actually want to particularly pick here. But with Hellblade Glavenus coming in and having a bunch of like must pick genes for like fire, you have some really hard choices to make here basically if you want this or not.
This is the main benefit of this is that one, it's speed. It's another way to throw off your opponent in PvP, and it's another option for PvE, so you can have every attack, like you've already said. But this move actually does high damage as well. The two moves that Molten Tigrex have are very high on their like power modifier, or whatever you want to call it, where they like a move can say heavy damage on the tooltip, but it might only mean that it's doing like 80, whereas another move that says heavy might be doing 150. So there's a very big difference in how much heavy damage means, and the two moves that he has, including this Ignition Kick, are both actually on the higher end of it. as well as causing Blast Blight, can just mean that you one-shot people with PvP, and is a faster way to rotate doing Blast Blight and proccing it on PvE, if that is the build you're going for. I like this move. I like that it's another crit option. I think it's probably better than the other Ignition move that's just called Ignition, right? Because it costs a bit more, but it does way more damage, and it can crit. I think, can the other Ignition move even crit? I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. But they combo nicely together, the two moves that Molten Tigrex has, you know, AoE apply and then single target cause, which is really a nice synergy. So, an interesting pairing of moves for sure.
The real good like synergy here is if you're doing like a 2v2, for instance, or we're having a 2v2 PvP fight, Paradise could have something that inflicts Blast Blight, and I could just throw this out like basically turn 1 because it's such a low cost, and we can basically just one-shot someone if they do get inflicted by that Blast Blight. So maybe something that we will see in the future from us where we go into PvP and we try out these monsters, but for now, I feel like Molten Tigrex came with some decent genes, not for him. It's kind of disappointing when the genes are not for the monster that you're building towards in terms of like the element matching, but it's still nice that it's a thematic thing where it's like, yeah, it's cool, right?
Yep.
But
I would actually say if you don't want to use Molten Tigrex as a Monstie, I would say maybe farm 2 or 3 of them and hold on for Dread King Rathalos, because we don't know what he's going to have yet, but if he does end up being fire, which I think he should, because this Molten Tigrex is non-elemental, right? Which is something
it's going to be fire and blast from what I've seen. Like, so it's going to be fire and
but
blast.
We might want these moves on Dread King.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
It's up to you.
That's why people were fuming. They're saying redundant.
I don't know why they've made him non-elemental. I will throw that out there. We've got some very good non-elemental contenders with Nogante, with Bloodbath. I guess he does go in there as an alt choice, and he is a fan favorite for some people. So it's nice to have that option, I suppose. But I'm trying to think, would I have actually wanted him as fire? Because we've got like Hellblade, we've got Teostra. Do we need another fire? But then do we need another non-elemental?
Exactly.
Why can't he? Oh no. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm interested.
Anyway, guys, since we made it to the end of the video, today's keyword to make me know that you've made it to the end is Blast Blight. Just put something down in a sentence saying the word Blast Blight, and try to make it a bit snazzy and a bit cool, you know, and I'll know that you are the MVP that has made it to the end of the video and has appreciated it. Anyway, guys, what do you have coming out, Paradise? I nearly forgot. I always nearly forget. What videos do you have going out?
Well, if you guys are looking to farm or fight Molten Tigrex, I'm going to have tips over on my channel, followed by just the gameplay, so that you're I'll bring you up to speed with what you want to do to beat him, and then you can watch the gameplay if you're still struggling, or if you want to see the exact moves that he does and all that. So it should be easy mode after you watch that.
Cool. Alright guys, see you on the next video. Goodbye. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget you can subscribe so you don't miss another video.